A drunk woman in a bridal dress kissed a royal guardsman, laughing, "Now you're my prince." The crowd cheered, expecting a funny moment for social media. But with one cold step forward and a single word, the guardsman silenced everyone. What happened next left her humiliated and the crowd in stunned silence. Let's start from the beginning. But before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. We share the untold stories, secrets, and traditions of the British Guards every day. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. The guardsman stood tall and stoic, a perfect symbol of British tradition. Around him, the usual crowd of tourists bustled, snapping selfies, waving hands in front of his face, and making bets on who could make him blink. Nothing out of the ordinary, until she appeared. From around the corner stumbled a woman in a wreck of a bridal gown. Once white, the dress was now stained with wine, ketchup, and bad decisions. In one hand, she clutched a bottle of champagne. In the other, a pair of heels she'd long since abandoned. Mascara streaked down her face, and her expression screamed, "I'm the life of the party, even if no one invited me." "Oh, look at him," she slurred, pointing her champagne bottle at the guardsman. "A proper prince in a uniform." The tourists parted, eyes widening, phones already out. This was about to get interesting. She staggered forward, champagne sloshing over the rim. The signs warning visitors to keep their distance, completely ignored. "You're so serious," she teased, hiccuping. "What, made of stone or something?" The guardsman, true to his training, remained still. But inside, his patience was wearing thinner than her wine-soaked veil. Here we go again, another royal joker. The bride wasn't done. Fueled by alcohol and misplaced confidence, she closed the distance. "Let's fix that, shall we?" Before anyone could stop her, she leaned in and planted a sloppy kiss on his cheek, leaving a bright red lipstick mark on his pristine face. The crowd gasped. Phones zoomed in. Somewhere, a voice muttered, "Oh, this is going viral." But the guardsman didn't flinch, didn't even blink. Inside, though, a thought flickered. "Wrong guardsman, lady." One cold, deliberate step forward. "Ma'am, step back." The words cut through the air like a sword. The bride froze, champagne bottle slipping from her hand. The crowd fell silent. And that's when her royal disaster began. The lipstick mark stood out like a scarlet badge of dishonor on the guardsman's cheek. The bride, wobbling proudly on her unsteady feet, admired her handiwork with a triumphant giggle. "There! Now you've been kissed by a queen," she announced, raising her bottle of champagne like a victorious gladiator. The guardsman remained stone-faced, his gaze fixed ahead. But inside? Oh, inside his mind was far from quiet. Kissed by a queen? More like ambushed by a banshee. Is this what tourists think British hospitality is? Unbelievable. But the drunk bride wasn't done, not by a long shot. Fueled by alcohol, attention, and the misplaced belief that she was the star of the show, she began twirling in front of the guardsman like a figure skater who forgot to bring skates. Her tattered bridal gown billowed around her, a tragic parody of elegance. "Come on, loosen up," she called out, hiccuping mid-spin. "It's a celebration." The crowd, sensing entertainment, gathered closer. Phones hovered in the air like a sea of tiny flags, recording every cringe-worthy second. The laughter started small, a chuckle here, a snort there, but quickly grew into full-blown encouragement. "Make him dance," someone yelled. "Bet he can't resist if you play the Macarena," another added, already searching for the song on his phone. The guardsman stood immobile, a fortress of dignity amidst the chaos. But his thoughts? Razor sharp. "They think I'm here for their amusement, as if centuries of tradition are just a theme park attraction. I should start charging a ticket fee. Might as well make money while they're embarrassing themselves. Meanwhile, the bride, encouraged by the crowd's cheers, dug into her purse. Her hand emerged holding a tiny Bluetooth speaker. "Ladies and gentlemen," she shouted, wobbling dramatically like she was about to host the Royal Drunk Olympics. "Let's make history!" The speaker crackled to life. A moment of silence passed, and then it happened. The opening notes of Dancing Queen blasted through the courtyard. The crowd erupted in laughter, clapping along to the beat. "Now that'll make him move," someone cheered. The bride twirled with renewed vigor, her champagne bottle swinging dangerously close to tourists' heads. And still, the guardsman stood firm. But his inner monologue? Oh, it was only getting started. Dancing Queen? Really? If only I could request the sound of silence. As Dancing Queen blasted from the tiny speaker, the bride swayed toward the guardsman, her movements as wobbly as her logic. She winked exaggeratedly, blew him a kiss, and gave a clumsy twirl. The crowd, now fully invested, clapped along to the beat. The atmosphere was festive, at least on the surface. But the guardsman, he remained unmoved, a stone figure against the tide of absurdity. Inside, however, his thoughts were anything but still. Here we go again. Why do they always think I'm here for their amusement? The uniform is a symbol of centuries of tradition, not a circus act. The bride giggled and inched closer, emboldened by the crowd's cheers. "Come on, loosen up," she shouted. "You're not made of stone, right?" The tourists loved it. Someone shouted, "Make him dance." Another voice added, "Bet he'll crack if you play the Macarena next." Phones zoomed in, capturing every humiliating second. The guardsman's jaw clenched ever so slightly, the only hint of the frustration simmering beneath his stoic exterior. They think I'm a statue. They think I don't notice, but I do. Then, without warning, he took a single, deliberate step forward. The crowd gasped. The bride froze mid-dance, her champagne bottle slipping slightly in her grip. The silence was deafening. In a deep, commanding voice, the guardsman broke tradition and spoke. "Ma'am, please step back." The bride blinked in disbelief, her brain scrambling to process what had just happened. "Wait, you can talk?" she stammered, clutching her bottle like a lifeline. The guardsman's expression didn't change. "I'm asking you once. Step back." The words hung in the air like a royal decree. The crowd erupted into murmurs. Phones zoomed in further, capturing history in the making. This was no longer a goofy tourist stunt. It was a moment of reckoning. The bride, still stunned, stumbled backward. Her heel caught on the Bluetooth speaker, sending her tumbling to the ground. The music cut off abruptly as she landed flat on her backside. Her champagne bottle rolled away, its contents spilling across the cobblestones. The guardsman, still stoic, watched the scene unfold without a flicker of emotion. Inside, though, he allowed himself one dry thought. Well, that's one way to shut down a party. The crowd, dead silent, and the bride, humiliated. Lesson learned, at least for now. The bride sat on the ground, dazed and embarrassed. The crowd, which had been cheering her on moments ago, now looked on with awkward silence. "Well," she muttered, wiping the lipstick from her teeth, "that didn't go as planned." A small child tugged at his mother's sleeve. "Mummy, why is the lady on the ground?" he asked. "Because, darling," the mother replied, "some people don't know how to behave." Just as the bride tried to regain her dignity, 2 police officers approached. "Is there a problem here?" one of them asked. The guardsman, still standing tall, gave the slightest nod toward the bride. "She kissed me without consent." The officers helped the woman to her feet. "All right, miss," one of them said. "Time to go." The bride tried to protest. "But it was just a joke. Everyone loved it." The officer shook his head. "Not everyone." As they escorted her away, the crowd started to disperse, murmuring about what they'd just witnessed. The guardsman, now alone again, calmly adjusted his bearskin hat and resumed his stance. Behind him, a man in the crowd turned to his wife. "See, I told you they don't mess around." The wife nodded. "I think we've learned our lesson." The guardsman remained motionless, but inside, he allowed himself a rare moment of humor. Lesson learned indeed. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and let us know in the comments which guard tradition you'd like us to cover next. See you in the next video.